Lawyer Jide Ologun joins me on the news at 10 for more on this development. Mr. Ologun, thank you so much for staying on the line. Interesting development with the interim forfeiture of 57 properties alleged to belong to the former Attorney General. Precisely, what do you make of this development, and how much impact do you think it's going to have on the ongoing fight against corruption?
Thank you very much. It's quite laudable, even though it's still temporary forfeiture at this stage. And if the government can pull through by having, full forfeiture, it should be a fantastic thing. But having said that, I think that's just part one of the case in question, because asset recovery is quite different from making the defendant to pay for the evil they have brought upon the society. That brings us to where will the prosecution end? Will it end in conviction? If I cast our minds back to what happened in Dubai, when Dubai identified 6 sponsors of Boko Haram in Nigeria, they were apprehended, prosecuted, and all jailed, some to life imprisonment and some to 10 years imprisonment. So if we stop at the point of just recovering asset, then we will not be fighting corruption. And what Section 15, subsection 5 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended states clearly is that the state shall abolish corrupt practices and abuse of office. And it's so mind-boggling that properties worth about 213.2 billion naira are suspected to have been acquired by proceeds of unlawful activities. For how long did Malami serve as Attorney General of the Federation? Is Nigeria such a rich nation that just an individual and his cohorts we appropriate that to themselves, while we are still trying to recover from the Mayfield 753 duplexes in Abuja, amongst other allegations? So Nigeria should please wake up to the need to decimate corruption. If you look at the impact on the society, for instance, how much is ASU asking for in the total sense of it? How much are the resident doctors who are now threatening to go on strike? How much are they asking for? What is the minimum wage in Nigeria? Then it also speaks to our system. What system do we have? Are we saying we don't have a governance system that can proactively prevent corruption? And these are issues that bother some of us. But by and large, we are monitoring the case as it progresses.
Indeed.
And I'm so impressed that the Honorable Justice has warned stakeholders not to patronize him on this matter. Let the justice have its way. Again, it's disturbing that reference is made to loot of Abacha that the country recovered and now being relooted by some. It's so absurd and nauseating, to say the least.
You know that interim forfeiture orders are often criticized as potentially punitive before the trial itself. How do you think our law can begin to balance the interest of the state, while also being fair to, or rather preserving the constitutional right to property and fair hearing on the other side?
That's where the judiciary is there. In the case of Emefiele, when the trial court ordered the interim forfeiture, he proceeded to the Court of Appeal, and Court of Appeal reversed some of the forfeitures. And you know that the highest court in the land is the Supreme Court. But in respect of the 553 duplexes in Abuja, the federal government has taken them over, handed them over to the Ministry of Housing, claiming that it should be completed and handed over to the vulnerables. How well that should be carried out is another big question on the scale of corruption. And so, interim forfeiture, he has been given 14 days to show proof why he should not have total forfeiture of the properties to the federal government. So if he can justify earning 213.2 billion naira since he started practice to acquire those properties, alongside with his children and wife, why not? The government will release the properties to him, But if otherwise, we have to forfeit them to the government. And that is the way to go.
All right.
It's not just something you laugh over or you gloss over. Recall the Ikoyi Gate scandal then. The money was forfeited to the federal government. But whether the main characters were actually taken through the mill of justice is a different question. And that's why I'm driving the advocacy that don't let us just focus on asset recovery and applaud asset recovery without dealing with the culprits. Because if you step into industrial psychology, that's what you call reinforcement theory, which means if you don't deal with this in a scenario, I mean, in the future, it will be worse. In 1977 or thereabout, it was $2.8 billion that disappeared from the NNPC account. And nobody accounted for that. Today, we are talking of trillions, asking questions about 17 trillions and everything. And that's what I mean by reinforcement theory. So when people come to the point of dancing on the face of the law, saying what would be the worst that will happen, I have not personally recovered from the Air Nigeria scam, and when Hadis Urika was arraigned in court, I understand he was saying that some people were sent to jail or whatever. So we need to decimate corruption. Otherwise, a highly prosperous nation like Nigeria, by God's design and creation and blessing, will remain in poverty, where a few will corner the wealth of the nation that should be for commonwealth.
All right.
And I've said all this,
yes,
respecting the presumption of innocence in our constitution.
All right.
The matter is still on. So we expect that the right things will be done in facilitating justice, national interest.
Good place to leave it. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us, Lawyer Jide Ologun, on the news tonight.
God bless Nigeria.